everyone. I'm Caroline.
And if you can hear me, I'm Phil. The reason I say that is the light on our microphone flashes when it's not on. And then when you press the button, it goes solid light.
And he wouldn't.
It would not.
We were both pressing like mad. The time was coming up, but we managed about, 1 second before the end of the countdown, and then I pressed the wrong button. It took you over to the thumbnail. So sorry about that. We shall now try to be professional.
Oh, thank you,
Christina.
That's so kind of you.
Oh, 55 Swedish crowns. I'm getting there.
You're getting there.
Thank you ever so much. And a lemon and a pear. Having a little bit of a dance and a high five. Thank you ever so much. It's really kind of you. And we do appreciate it.
We do indeed. Thank you so much. And I'm assuming because... Oh, yes, we can hear you, Rachel. So I was going to say, no one's saying they can't. Because in the old days, when things go wrong, we get a row of, we can't hear you. And we'd be chopsing away, and then we'd look down and see all this line of chat.
We'd have to start again.
But it's good to be with you. It's good we can hear you. It's good that you can see us, even if we can't see you, but we can see the chat. And it's lovely to have over 80 in the very first minute. So that's fantastic.
Who was first in?
Oh, well, I tell you what...
it's getting really hot for that first place now.
There's
issues.
Of
competition.
Yeah, the north and the south, they're really battling it out. They are, and I think the north come out on top today.
On my screen, first one in was Little Owl Bag, so well done, Paul, first in.
Yeah, there we go.
Followed really closely, unbelievably closely by Mudlarking with Adam Gates and Command. Well done, Adam. And third in was Jen Wilders. Well done, Jen.
And lovely.
West Country Mudlarks just missed it at fourth place, so well done. You get the honour of being on the first, second and third place on the podium.
There we go. Well done. I hope and of course our Paul's been doing pretty well in the questions lately as well.
I know.
So he's pie-hot, I tell you. He's spending a lot of time up there just sitting, waiting for our live show to start, revising through the Encyclopedia Britannica.
The birthday girl is in, Lynn. She said, good evening. Just chilling now after a busy couple of days celebrating my birthday. She's 60. Oh, I don't know if I'm supposed to say how old you are.
She's 42.
Yes.
I never give away ladies' age.
No. Sorry, I didn't think, Lynn, so sorry if I sort of dropped you in it there. But it's Lynn's birthday, and it's a schnapps birthday, which apparently if you're in Germany, you have to buy people schnapps whenever you take them out for the whole year when they've got double numbers.
Right.
So,
there we go. Well, you've given her away completely now.
Yeah, she's 22.
Yeah. No. Well, we'll have to wait and see. Oh, what was that?
That was Brian O'Brien. Thank you. We got a donation over on Ko-fi. That's really kind of you. And we really do appreciate that. Thank you, Brian.
Yes, indeed we do. Anyway, I tell you what, we've got a reputation in this part of the world for talking about the weather.
Let's talk about the weather.
But in fairness, in the comments, people from all over the world have been talking about our weather.
It's been pretty awful.
If you're going to have the biggest storm in 30 years, if you're going to have 127 mile an hour winds, I don't think Eunice does it. You know, I just don't. It doesn't frighten me.
It's not a fierce name,
no,
is it?
No, it's not really. But Eunice came in. I think it was Dudley came in first. But that's the one that hit the north.
Yeah, that didn't bother us too much.
We just got the tail of that. But the problem was we got downpours of rain as a result of that, which really soaked the ground, which made the roots unstable, and then the trees started falling. There are no trains running in Wales again today because they still haven't cleared the tracks. There were no post office deliveries. The Royal Mail suspended all deliveries yesterday, at least in Wales. They closed both the Severn Bridge crossings for the first time since the second Severn Bridge opened.
Ever since they built the second one, we always were under the impression it was unclosable. It was so good they'd never need to close it, and they had to close it.
They designed it to take all the winds that we would normally expect, but when you're getting 120 mile an hour plus, I think even the new Severn Bridge with all of its clever fandangled ideas wasn't up to the job. So they closed both Severn Bridges, so we were shut off. It was pretty hairy around here, and our neighbour across the road, they have 4 huge trees that must have been up for 100 years at least.
Very big.
Right
About
up along their
feet,
boundary. At least 70, somewhere between 70 and 100 feet.
Massive
and
things.
they are big things. And one is right at their gateway. If that one had come down, it would have taken out our car. But as it was, the third of the 4 came down. It was alongside their house by about 2-3 yards, but it fell at 45 degrees and came through And literally the trunk, Caroline was looking today with me, is lying inches away from the edge of their building.
It's amazing it didn't take the house out.
And they've been there 2 days with chainsaws, the tree surgeons,
and there's still
cutting
these
this thing
massive
up.
lumps, and they're still working on it.
Yeah, but really glad that it missed our neighbour's house and that no one was harmed, at least here. Obviously there was one fatality in the storm, but which is very sad. But we all got through it.
Yeah, Phil just had to do a little bit of an emergency repair on
yes.
one of the fence panels, which looked like it was going to just get blown away.
Yes.
You saved it just about.
Oh yes, and it's discreet.
It's not discreet.
I actually used 7x2 floor joists.
Yes.
To support my fence. I nailed one right across 2 posts.
Oh, it looks so
and
pretty.
then I put flying buttresses off it, hammering nails in the middle of the storm. But it did the job.
It did.
I've got a lot of work to do to get it strong in the spring, but we didn't lose a fence panel. We lost a few bits of fencing, but we didn't lose a panel.
No.
The shed is still intact.
It is, amazingly so.
And the windows didn't leak.
No.
And what else have we been up to?
Well, I can't tell you, the Craftsbury caravanners tonight are watching us from the caravan park because
Yes.
they've been without power for 24 hours. It's not coming on till Tuesday, so they've just taken their caravan and they've gone on holidays 2 miles away from home. So lovely to have you joining us, Pete and Kaz, and quite a luxurious surroundings. You're on holidays. An unexpected holiday. Hope you're enjoying it.
Indeed, indeed. Not everyone goes holidaying in the middle of storm season, but sometimes needs must, and the caravan has definitely come in handy for the crafty caravan.
Yes. Rachel Bailey said here on the Cumbrian coast it was bad, but more wind than anything, then snow. Now we had a little tiny bit of snow. It lasted for minutes. I did get some of it on video on my phone, and then it stopped. So I was hoping if we got to put up with all this, then we might as well have a foot of snow and really be able to enjoy it, because I want to build a snowman, and it didn't happen.
Yeah.
So no snow really here.
Yeah, because who were you quoting about the snow? Because the Happy Mudlarks are saying in Yorkshire they've had snow.
Right, yes, I noticed the Yorkshire weather was supposed to be pretty nasty.
Yeah, this snowfall and high winds here in West Yorkshire has been causing a mess on the roads. I bet.
Now, Lexi had sleet.
Yeah.
Oh, Lynn said we couldn't get back by train yesterday as a tree fell in front of the Halifax train. We were drenched. Oh, not funny, I bet.
Yeah.
Man, I bet it fell in front of it than on it. It's been so dangerous.
Yes.
Well, Phil had to go out during the storm to do a funeral, and he avoided all roads with big trees on because they were telling us there is a risk of life if you go near trees on the road. So
the most direct route from here to my nearest crematorium is up a lane, and there are trees growing on either side, and it's one of those lanes, you see them sometimes on the footage you put up, where the ground is built up alongside, and there are huge trees and the root system is just growing down the side of the banking onto the road. I did not drive that way. As Caroline said, took the longer route, went to work, but took the long route. And actually, I was speaking with one of the funeral directors earlier in the day, and at one service, they took the service at the church, and then they took the deceased back to the chapel of rest because they couldn't get to the graveyard.
so bad it was.
The storm was so bad, they couldn't go to the burial, and they had to bring the deceased back and rearrange the burial for a different day. So we're talking about disruption on a massive scale.
Well, it didn't bother Christina because apparently Paul's saying she managed to fly out to Vegas just before the storm hit. So,
there we go.
And I assume she didn't come back yesterday in those terrible winds either, so she's missed it all.
When I was travelling to work, I always, when Caroline's not in the car, I have Radio 4. When Caroline's in the car, we have other things like Heart and Smooth Radio and things. But when I'm in the car, I have Radio 4. And on Radio 4 News, they were actually telling a story on the Radio 4 News, on BBC Radio, of a YouTuber who was currently getting 100,000 views.
Yeah, Lexi mentioned him, Skywatch or something.
Yeah,
Skywatch TV.
He was doing a live stream of Heathrow Airport.
Big Jet TV.
Doing commentary on the landing planes. And he was on there, and they actually played him on the radio, and he was going, "Are you going to do it? Is he going to go for it? Oh, he's going to go for it, folks. Oh, what finesse." And the guy on Radio 4 said, "Not quite how we would have reported it, but it certainly does the job." Because they're very prim and proper on Radio 4.
I saw some of the clips and I would not want to have been on one of those planes.
Well, because he got mentioned on the news, then that went into the news feed, and then it was coming up on the AOL feed. So that guy's channel has done the power of good.
We should have gone and watched planes.
That's what it is. No, it's much warmer here. We've got a radiator. Yes. Anyway, we'd better get on with why we're here.
No.
We're chattering. I told you, see, Welsh people love to talk about the weather.
We do.
We do indeed.
It makes such a big difference to life, though. Some people, they don't have to think. They know it's going to be sunny for the whole of the summer. Not here in Wales. You constantly have to check because you're probably going to need an umbrella or a coat, whatever the month is.
Well, I actually look at the week's weather and sometimes 2 weeks' weather to plan when we can video, especially now, because as I mentioned in the last video, we are out of stock. We are so jealous of you up in Yorkshire, Tom, because you keep complaining you've got nearly 30 videos to edit. We have 0 videos to edit. If we don't get out this week, there won't be a video on Friday. And we've had lovely people saying, if you can't make a video, we understand. And that's so good of you. But we're really trying because we're enjoying the challenge. It's making life feel so much normal because we just want life to be as normal as it can be again. So we're going to have a go, but
I don't know what we'll find or where we'll go, but
we're seriously thinking of trying to come up with an option this week because, of course, although the rain is going to ease on Monday, it is raining non-stop tomorrow. The rivers are already full flood. So whilst it's going to be interesting to visit the rivers when the water drops, I don't see it dropping this week.
No, may not.
So we may be back on the coast. That might be an alternative. But whatever happens, we will do our best.
Oh, thank you, Danny Macy, for a coffee donation. Thank you ever so much, Danny. That's really kind of you, and we do appreciate it. Thank you ever so much.
What have you got there, my dear?
Am I allowed to show all of my finds? Because Phil's got some questions related to some finds.
Well, I can alter the order of the questions. So if you want to show that find, I'll do that question first.
This, you may remember, this is the Cousins tomato sauce. Now, I had no idea the Cousins made tomato sauce. The only Cousins I've ever seen is soap.
Yes.
Imperial Leather, I think they make.
That's right. That's their famous brand,
but the colour on the bottle is beautiful anyway. You can see it's... This has changed. I always used to find aqua. Now we quite often find those sort of light blue ones, and I love them. But it was the fact it was Cousins, and it's a lovely, clear, big script too. Always good, because I don't wear my glasses when I'm out mudlarking, because I'm leaning down and they fall off my head, so I just don't bother. So then I can actually read what that one said, and I think it's absolutely gorgeous. Oh, it's a snap top on there. See? And...
it's a good age.
I love it. It's bubbles. Is there bubbles in the back? Yes, it is. You see... There's there's not a lot of bubbles, not compared to my find of the day, but there's a nice big bubble along there, a long torpedo-shaped bubble.
And it's got to be a good age because they didn't make other products for long. They specialised in soaps and such products, and I will give you more information in the question. Should we have the first question?
Let's have a question.
Here we go, folks. Our first question, which would have been our second question, except for the fact Caroline showed the find, which I don't mind at all. I'll just get totally confused by the end of the evening. Thomas Tomlinson Cousins was a 19th century chemist who built a successful pharmacy business before purchasing an old bleach mill and going into production of glass bottles, soap, and all sorts of products. So initially when he bought this huge plant, he thought, what am I going to do? So he started producing glass bottles for other people's products, and he thought, well, if I'm making bottles, I might as well produce my own bottles and make stuff myself. And I think that's possibly where Cousins tomato sauce come in, because that's not ketchup. If you look at the size of the bottle, and that bottle, even in those days, if you show it again, they were using the technique of making the bottle look bigger than it is. It's got a dipped back. It actually isn't as big as it seems. If you look, they dipped the back.
Naughty.
So that bottle is only a 2/3 of what it appears to be. But it was more like, Worcester sauce type texture. It was a sauce for treating fish and beef and such like. So it was more...
treating fish and beef?
Yeah.
Like if they're sick?
Like marinating and, not making them better. No, they're beyond help at that point. Don't start laughing now, dear. We'll be back to last week again.
Doctor, bring the Cousins.
Shut up. I have a serious question to ask you. This isn't meant to be a happy hour, not hysterics hour. Doctor, bring me the cousin sauce. Tomato. My fish is poorly.
Oh dear, stop it now.
Okay. But the most famous of their creations, as was proven by Caroline earlier before she had the hysterics, and is Imperial Leather. Imperial Leather is their most important, or at least their most successful product. It is still on the shelves today. People love it. It's in very posh packaging, like a deep red cardboard package, and it's not the cheapest of soaps. But that soap was launched. I can send you to your room.
I'm trying to be sensible.
That soap was launched in 1930, and pretty much by then they bought the plant around about 1920, and by 1930 they were going into soap production and that type of thing. So, 1930 Imperial Leather was created, but the recipe that was used for the fragrance for Imperial Leather was a few years older than the soap itself. In fact, we know when it was created because it is handwritten in a journal, but in what year? A, 1698, B, 1798, or C, 1898. They made the soap in 1930. When do you think someone wrote down the recipe for the actual fragrance that it's based on? 1698, 1798, or 1898?
I'll leave you deal with that then.
Okie
The thing is, I got an idea in my mind for the sentence I cannot possibly say because I just find it too funny. And no, I have not been on the booze.
No, it's just you're trying to say the sentence and you're thinking in your head and you're laughing at your own joke.
I am. It's very sad, isn't it, that I laugh at my own jokes. And none of you are going to know what I'm laughing at because I couldn't possibly say the sentence.
You'll start laughing again.
I would. Right then, let's have a look. See, lots of... Crafty Caravan says, when you giggle, it makes me giggle and it hurts, but I can't help it. Stop it, Caroline. Sorry. I shall be very sensible. I shall not laugh once more during the whole of the show. And if you believe that, you'll believe anything. Sorry, Cass. No, I'll try and be really sensible now, okay? Robert T. Rhodes said Caroline's laughter is catching. Oh, it looks like I've got everybody laughing. Sorry.
Yeah, I had a few comments just saying that from last week's show, when you got the giggles towards the end of the show, that people found themselves laughing with you. But somebody said, thank you so much for that, because they needed the laugh.
Oh, Shanna Hank, well done for interrupting Phil. Congratulations. And we may only be a few minutes in, but I guarantee Caroline trying to control her hysterics is the high point of this video. Oh, thank you. We really do appreciate that, Shannon. It's very kind of you, and I will try to control myself from now on.
Yes.
No guarantees, but I am going to try to be very grown up and adult and sensible.
That'll be a first. In 40 odd years.
I like to surprise you.
Right then, the answers are flooding in. And they are indeed. And the question was, how old is the recipe for the fragrance on which they based Imperial Leather? And the correct answer is right in the middle, 1798.
Well done if you got that right. I got this one right, didn't I?
Yes, which was 232 years before they made the soap. That's a fair old while to wait to make the soap. What actually happened was, Cousins was a clever guy. He bought the factory, then he bought a perfumery business in London. And with the perfumery business, what he was after was the ledgers. And they were full of hundreds of years that this company had been going of all their perfume recipes. He simply took a recipe from 1798, which had the name Imperial in the perfume, and he called it Imperial Leather, and he made his soap. The rest, as they say, is history. And the first 5 answers were all correct.
Ooh, well
Top
done.
of the tree, number 1 was Talbot's mum.
Well done, Talbot's mum.
Then West Country Mudlarks.
Well done, West Country Mudlarks.
And then Dean Wall.
Well done, Dean Wall. Congratulations to you 3. You're on the podium.
Quickly followed by Robert T. Road, who would have been in the top 3 if he'd just put B, but he actually wrote a full sentence saying, I say B for Lexi B, Lexi's Larks and Crafts. 2 laughing heads and came in fourth.
Oh,
So
nearly there.
That's pretty good timing. And Linda McTavish was B as well. So 5 in a row. But the top 3, as I say, were Talbot's Mum, West Country Mudlarks, and Dean Moore. There we go.
There we go.
Excellent.
Right. Are you going to show us find now?
I'll show you a find now. I will. What find shall I show you? I'm going to show
Ooh,
you.
I don't know. What have you got?
I'm going to show you.
I get the feeling it could be a bottle.
Yeah. I'm going to show you this one.
Right.
Ah! I changed my mind last minute.
Still a bottle.
It's still a bottle, it is. This one, I'm going to show you 2, because as those who've seen the video know, 2 halves make a whole one. This is in better condition as far as the glass is concerned itself.
I think they're a different colour too. The one's more aqua, the one's more blue, isn't it?
Yeah.
Even
And
if they were
this one
in the same
is
condition.
one's a bit sick, to say the least, and they're both a bit broke. Possibly hit by shovels when they were digging, but on the base of both of them is the location in which they were made and the company that made it. And on there it says Bristol as a location and S. Dixon as either the company that put the product in or the bottle manufacturer. S. Dixon of Bristol may have made the bottle and then somebody else put their labels on. That one has quite a nice air bubble there in the front as well. A few air bubbles in that. So I thought, I wonder who S. Dixon of Bristol is. And I can tell you folks, I don't know. Because I can't actually find an S. Dixon of Bristol in my research. But while researching glass manufacturers in Bristol, there was a Henry Dixon who was a glass blower, and he was of such note that he made comments that were documented at the time and then used in research later. And the reason I think that's relevant is because he was around in 1697. So 300 and odd years later, people are still quoting this man and his knowledge of the glass industry at the time, because the glass industry, although now booming in Bristol with Bristol Blue, was struggling at the end of the 17th century, and he made a lot of commentary on this, and he was a glass blower by the name of Henry Dixon. Now whether S. Dixon was a descendant of his and still in the glass industry, or whether it's a company, perhaps a chemist that made medication and had their name stamped on the bottom, it could be anything. But there we go. I did try checking it out, and I thought they were 2 interesting but rather broken bottles.
A couple of people saying they look like those ladies' tops with shoulders out, which I discovered are called cold shoulder tops. And I suppose it makes sense, doesn't it? Because you get cold shoulders.
And here's the other broken bottle that I brought forward to show, and that is our Stratford-on-Avon bottle. Somebody was saying, I think it's their great or their grandfather, great or great grandfather or grandfather that came from Stratford-on-Avon. Somebody else is living on the River Avon in the comments. But of course, the River Avon is a far-flung area from here. But this is Flower and Sons Limited Brewery, Stratford-on-Avon.
Is the River Avon the one when we driving down through past Bathampton and you can see down? Is that the River Avon?
Possibly. It'll come
Not
down
sure.
Bristol and
That must be
Avon
the
is
one I'm
called,
thinking
isn't it?
of then, yeah.
So that's the area.
I've seen a sign for something on
Bristol
Avon,
and
I'm pretty
Avon,
sure.
yeah. And I think when we went metal detecting, they were on Avon, weren't they? Along that way, there was places on Avon as we went metal detecting across
Were
the
they?
bridge.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Same sort of direction. Somebody did say that this company was bought out by another brewer, and I think they said...
Oh, Jerry Ann! Well done, you've interrupted Phil with a $5 super chat. She says, hush Phil, and she's laughing her head off. Thank you so much, Jerry Ann. That's really kind of you. We do appreciate that, and well done for interrupting Phil.
What do you mean we? You appreciate the fact they keep shutting me up. I don't
No,
necessarily.
but you appreciate the super chat. But
I do.
You just happened to be while you were talking. It was just a
happened to be.
coincidence.
It says shush, Phil. That's not
Yeah,
happened.
okay,
That's a deliberate aim.
Nice aim. You did well.
But I think in another comment someone said they were bought out. They shut the brewery but kept the name and used it on certain products. I think that's what I read. Don't quote me on that. There
Okay,
we
I
go.
won't.
So there's a few finds there.
Right then, I'm going to do a Happy Mail.
Ooh.
If I can find it. There we go. And I've lost it now. I put it. You've got it. I got it.
You got it? I got my bits here.
All right, that's why I couldn't see it.
That's why you couldn't see it. I picked my bits up.
Right, so do you want to show your bits first, or shall I show my bits first?
You show yours first if you wish, because these are gifts from the Happy Mudlarks, and that is Ali and Diego. If you haven't seen their channel, I haven't had a chance to watch it yet, but I know I've had the notification because we subscribed. Their latest video went out yesterday, I believe it was, because it said 17 hours when I checked earlier, and they're at 114 subscribers at the moment. Now, we looked at the weather and tried to find a slot before the storm came. They're living in West Yorkshire. They didn't have much choice because they had Dudley, then they had Eunice, so they went out between the storms, which I'm sure is going to be interesting. So check their video out, folks.
Right, so the letter says, Dear Phil and Caroline, please find enclosed gift for the both of you. We hope you like them. So these ones are only from Diego and Ali. So if you're going to show yours... Oh, hello Phyllis, it's Phil's mother.
Hello, Mother's in, is she?
Yes, nice of you to join us.
Hello, Mother. I didn't know Mother was in.
Yes, she's just gone up the chat.
Because Mum quite often watches, but has trouble getting the chat to work.
She chatted away, said hello.
Yeah, and someone was saying they can't get the chat to work on their phone, so they're watching, but they can't get their chat to work.
I've never watched it on the phone.
This is my gift from Ali and Diego, and it's 2 pieces of beautiful molten glass.
And that's really melted.
Which I'm assuming was 2 pieces when it left. Otherwise, the postman is to blame, because I think at one point it was 1 piece. And the balance out on there. Isn't that about? Isn't that about? And I am seriously considering putting that back together for a project I've got in mind.
Yeah, it was together when I sent it. So they was an over-vigorous postman.
There we go. Courtesy of the postman.
Very clean cut though, so
I have
it's
2 pieces, but a little bit of Gorilla Glue on it, and that will be back here.
Yeah,
and
you won't even notice.
That's about.
It's lovely, isn't it?
That's about. And I'm thinking that is going to be going in with another find that I picked up on the movie, and I'm going to be mixing glass and metal for a design.
Ooh, mixed media. Living life on the edge now.
But I just... Woo! What's a computer? There we go. I just noticed that as far as height is concerned, they will probably work quite well together. You see? That's what I'm thinking. The height. And this is very reminiscent of the power station chimney stacks that were on Bargard Colliery.
Right.
Remember they had them down here, the wooden ones, because they used to generate their own power? Also, any chimney, but that's the shape they had to them. So I'm thinking that I'm going to use these together when I do a colliery piece. But thank you very much. You know, as I've said before when we receive gifts, it's a weird bunch we are when we send things like this through the post, and they are received with such joy.
That's right.
What does this say about us, folks?
Best not to think there.
It says we're different, and different's all right. But I love it. I absolutely love it. The texture, the colour, and the fact that the top has stayed formed like a... I think that's going to go really well in one of my gruesome pieces of art. Thank you.
I'll show you, this I'll be using on my art channel, but I'll show you what they bought for me. Mine are pretty.
Yours are pretty, yeah. You can't use yours on Mudlarking. Yours will go on your pretty.
Leave them in the... If I put my glasses on, I can see what I'm doing. So on this one, I got some little tiny jewelly things and some leather strapping. So I'm going to come up with something all plaited up. That's lovely. And then I've got... I'll open this up. These are like wooden pieces. I love these. You can stick them on and paint them or whatever. So there's flowers and hearts. So I'll be able to do lots of interesting things with those. And there's even, look at this, a little strawberry. Oh, isn't that a cute one?
Cute strawberry.
And if I pop those in there, I've also got a bag of hearts. And what's not to love about a bag of hearts? I paint them, and they look, if you do them all in different colours, they look really pretty. So thank you ever so much. I will be using those over on my channel. And I've got some happy mail there that it's all been waiting. I've just accepted. I've just discovered it. I'm finding things now that have been put away. And somebody sent me a stamp pad thing. I can't remember the name of the person on it now. Anybody who's into art will know it's a man's name anyway. Well, they sent me one of those, but there was no name on it, so I have no idea who sent it to me. So if that's you, please can you let me know? Because I would love to know and say thank you, but I don't know who it came from.
You know, Mudlarker in Arizona saying nothing better than melted bottles. So no. I quite agree. As testament by my melted bottle structure that's still on the shelf. And the dragon has gone up top now. He's keeping an eye on things from high above.
Tim Holtz, that's the one. Thank you, Paul. Tim Holtz. It's a Tim Holtz stamp pad, and it's like a bluey green. Tim it is. And it's like a bluey green colour. It's absolutely beautiful. But I didn't know who to say thank you to, so I know who it is now. But if it was from you, send me, if you're in tonight, send me a row of smiley faces so I can spot your reply, because I would like to say thank you.
Yeah, because some stuff arrived when Caroline wasn't well, and I was trying to keep everything sorted, but things got a bit confused. So
very confused.
Whereas Caroline loves doing a happy mail over on the other channel, some of it hasn't been in because Caroline didn't know where it was from, who it was from, because it was a bit chaotic for a while. But it's wonderful to have a realm of normality.
Yeah, Lynn, I think you're right, Tim Holtz.
Can I just mention
Holtz.
that I've done one question and it's gone half hour.
Another question. Quick question.
Okay. Question number 1, which is now question number 2.
Right.
Each of the 3 churches that we showed on this week's history section, because so many people commented on how much they loved the church that we showed in the previous video, so I decided to show all 3. And each of them have a distinctive feature about the tower. 2 of them we showed on the video, but the 3rd I don't believe appeared. The first in Geltligay is that it has a clock built into the tower. Then, up at Badwellty, they have the Welsh flag flying from the tower. My question is, what distinctive feature do you think they have at Mynyddyslwyn? Is it a cross? Is it gargoyles? Or a weather vane? Which of those 3 do you think is distinctive on that tower? Each has a different item on their tower. The clock in Geltligay, up at Badwellty, the Welsh flag flying, which we showed. What do you think is on the tower at Mynyddyslwyn? Is it a cross, gargoyles, or weather vane? A is cross, B is gargoyles, C is a weather vane.
Right. Now, while Phil's doing that, I just want to show you something. I realised this on one of the countdowns. Phil is filming out of the window. And if you look very carefully, you can see him in the mirror. And I'm just going to switch over to the countdown now, just for a couple of seconds. And you can see Phil sneakily eating some chocolate while he's filming. Watch this now.
Me? No sneaky about that.
Did you see that? I noticed the other day. I've never noticed it before.
You notice too much, dear. You really do.
I know.
It's taken me 40 years married to Caroline to realise that she genuinely does notice all these things, and I think it's taken you 40 years to realise I notice virtually nothing. Caroline sees about 90% of what's in front of her, and I see the other 10. Yes. We see it all between us. But I'm not very good at all.
Talbot's mum said, I saw him eating, didn't know what. Busted, Phyllis said. Yes.
Right.
Proof that Phil does eat chocolate.
I do.
And enjoy it.
While you're driving the car. I am chauffeured.
You are. Right then, we got some answers.
We have indeed. We have got lots and lots and lots of answers. Lexi went with Z. But...
don't think that's right.
But she'd already gone with A before she went with Z, which means that she's correct and top of the tree, because A is the right answer. They have put a cross up there. I'll tell you a bit more in a moment, but just to give you the top answers, Lexi has got A, Then going down, down, down. It's the Happy Mudlarks. I've got A and Linda Peterson. So there we go. It's Lexi, it's Harry and Diego, or both, one or the other, or two, and Linda.
Well
Linda
done.
Peterson. There we go. Each got
on the
A.
podium.
We've got quite a variety of answers, B's and C's, because any one of them could have been right, in as much as we didn't actually show what was on there. But they don't only have a cross on the tower. I would say it's probably 3 miles as the crow flies from here to the none of this slide. 2 miles.
I've never spoken to a crow, but I would say
2 or 3 miles away from here.
With you.
And when we look out of our living room window at night, we can see the cross on top of that tower. Because I mentioned in the piece on the video that they used to signal from one church to the other. They would light a signal, a fire signal, put a torch, and then they would signal to the one church, signal to the other church to give warnings if there was trouble in the locality. The Manufacturer Church has decided to do a modern version of that. The cross they've put up is quite large and it is lit at night. And we can see the white light cross far over on the horizon of our view. So that's quite effective. So there we go. Cross is the right answer. Lexi, Ali and Diego and Linda have
It's actually just Diego.
It's just Diego, is it? There we go then. Gosh, we don't want to go sharing the credit with Ali. She's not in. There we go. It's just Diego. There we go. Diego's got it. But top of the tree was Lexi, then Diego, and then Linda.
Your extra bonus point if you can spell money this line. First one with the correct spelling of money this line in the chat. That'll be an interesting one.
Yeah. Money this line.
So I'm going to show you.
All the Welsh people. If Rufus was in, he'd be laughing.
He would. Oh yes, he isn't in tonight, is he?
I haven't seen him. No. He might pop up now.
Right. So this was the one little bottle we found with a few little bubbles in it. If I get really close, does that help? There. No, you can't really see, but then this was unbelievable, the amount of bubbles in this. I'm going to have to get a piece of paper to put behind it.
Nice try, Mo, but no. Try doing just 2 words. Mynydd and Islwyn.
Look at the bubbles in that. It's just absolutely stunning. You think it was a pattern. It's so bubbly. You can imagine somebody in modern day making a bottle with all those bubbles. You couldn't count them. It's just absolutely covered in them. And I love that. That's got to be one of the best bottle finds. We found lots of interesting ones. And some of you know I love the Eiffel Tower bottles. But the Eiffel Tower lemonade. But that, I think, beats those because of the amount of bubbles. It really amuses me. It's a pretty colour as well. If it was just white, or clear, it wouldn't be quite as effective. But I think that is pretty neat.
It's interesting that the spelling Mo has come up with and the spelling that Tinkering Twins and their mum have come up with is very similar. But if you look at Catherine Williams's...
I'll have to look on yours. Have a look. Oh, yes, it's one too many L's.
There we go, but that's pretty close.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, because it's Islwyn rather than Islwyn.
Oh, Flower Girl in Mode 17 said empty plastic alcohol sample bottle. I'm not quite sure what that is.
There you go. But
right.
I'd say Catherine's done very well there. Extremely well.
Yeah, that's very close.
Obviously understands the Welsh language and the way it spells to get the double D for the because with Mynydd, because it means the mountain of Islwyn. Islwyn, I believe, is a famous poet. I think was he a poet or something?
I'm not sure.
But it's Islwyn's mountain, Mynydd Islwyn. There we go. Rightio. What have I got?
What have you got? You're going to show us fine.
I got a pot. What a nice pot.
It's really in good condition.
Got to get the angle right and it looks good. But as you all know, if you've watched the video,
it's not so good.
It hides the secret.
But look at it, it's lovely. There's hardly any marks on it.
No, it's been smashed.
It's certainly not sick or anything.
In fact, if you look at the condition there, I'd say they hit that with a spade.
Yeah, I think so.
I'd say that got hit by the spade when they were digging, and bang. They weren't very careful, them diggers. But as I said, I brought it home because it was reminded me of this piece. because it will stand, and I thought I could do something. This is far more ornate, you know, this is more fanciful a piece, therefore I put a rather dandy looking character inside, but I'm thinking I can do something along those lines using this, because it will sit on that base. So if I get a plinth, too tall,
oh,
but if I get a plinth and set that on it,
ooh,
then I can make something with that. I think that's my plan, is to house something in there and make that a sort of feature of the pot.
Happy Girl said everyone said the Johnsons a package of milliput. Yeah, we probably need about 100 packages to finish that.
Yeah, somebody did say on one of the comments, they said that's going to take a bit of milliput. Quite a lot of comments as well about this piece that was in the video that we did last week, because quite a lot of people are interested by the shape and wondering if that was, rather than just happen to be that shape from being in the water, because it's so well done, was it done by human hand? So questioning whether or not this may have been used as a tool many years ago. And it does definitely hold very nicely in the hand and could be used for such a purpose. But what do you think, folks? Do you think that's just natural way, or do you think that was worked on? It's interesting that it's got a different texture along that area, but it's obviously been roughed to the smooth. This is rough and this is smooth. But lots of people questioning whether or not it was designed to be held in the hand as a tool, or possibly even tethered to something. So there we go. I'm just going to show you that.
Right, I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing your name properly, but Albreda Velde, first time I caught your live stream, much love from the USA, lovely to have you with us live. It says, I'd like to know if you sell your Pop Your Wellies on shirts. We do, the link should be in the description of this video. If not, it's in the descriptions of all our videos. But if you just go on wherever you buy your t-shirts from and put it in, you'll get a link, and it won't be our t-shirts. Somebody is saying their t-shirts. I don't know how many times I've had them taken down from different sites all around the place, from Amazon, and I win every time because it's obviously our design, but people are stealing my design. So be very careful, unless it says Manky Panda Productions is the people who make it, because that is, I put that in as the manufacturer or whatever you call it. I can't remember what the word is. And from Amazon, then it's not one that we made. So best way to get one is to follow the links in our description.
Right, someone is asking, and I'm going to have to defer to your help here in case I get it wrong, because I'm not good with spelling. Where's it gone? Looking up the mountain in Wales on Google, this is Flower Girl Ward 17, what is the correct spelling, please? It's M-Y-N.
Well, you've written it down there, so...
Oh, I got it written down, have I? There we go. Ah, it's in my question, isn't it? I'd forgotten I'd asked that question. M-Y-N Y-double-D, so that's mynydd, M-Y-N-Y-double-D, and then Isloin is I-S-L-W-Y-N. Okay, so Isloin is I-S-L-W-Y-N, and mynydd is M-Y-N-Y-double-D. There we go.
Do you need to do that as well?
I do. I'm writing it. See? It helps. It helps when you're daft. I tell you what. Shall we do another question?
Let's have another question.
If you pass me the piece over there, love, perhaps the piece with the flowers on will be fine.
That one?
Yeah, because we did find some rather posh pot.
We did.
Down on this particular location.
Wealthy people there.
You know, there's a lot more posh pots over on the Sarawi than there is on the Rhymney River, at least up this far up the valley. We get a lot of white over here. We get some blue and white, but we got some really rich blue and whites, and we got some pretty flowers. So my question is related to the process of transfer wear, because up until a certain point in time, they had to paint everything on. Now, transfer wear meant that it could be done quickly, it could be done cheaply, of course, it also had the negative effect an awful lot of artists were put out of work. But for the lower end of the market, transferware made patterns available. Now, the printing process of transferware began in 1756 and was developed by John Sadler and Guy Green. It was then adopted by Josiah Wedgwood, who used it on his creamware range. In which English city was this process first invented? Was it A, London, B, Liverpool, or C, Leeds? Which city did Mr. John Sadler and Guy Green hail from? And where did they develop their process for transferware? Was it London? That would be A. Liverpool will be B. And Leeds will be C.
Well, Breda said, Phil, did you work in the mines at one point? You seem to know a lot about mine history and equipment.
Yes, that's where I worked. I went down the mine when I was 16 from school. I served a 4-year apprenticeship as a mechanic, and I worked on the coal faces by night. I went on dismantling and head-ins, and then became a mechanical engineer, or what was it? I forget the term I had, but we had a department in maintenance, and we had our own office and a team of 4.
Were you shift charge engineer?
No, it was different to that. It was a weekly paid industrial staff, I was, but I can't remember the title. Anyway, I got into an office for the last couple of years, but still went down underground with my team. So yeah, I went from 16 years of age and retired at 28. Which I recommend to everyone. Retire at 28. I've had a couple of lifetimes since then. I've done 30 years in the ministry. I've retired from that. Now I'm serving as a funeral celebrant and was planning to retire from that on my 60th birthday, which was over a year ago. But it didn't happen because of COVID. So we'll see what happens. But we hope to do that one day and travel. But yes, I did work in the mines.
Right, if you check out who's first, second,
I will
third,
indeed.
I'm really sorry to hear you're having migraines. They're awful, aren't they? Especially if the pressure does affect them. Different people seem to get affected by different things, but I'm sure you've had a bit of a rough day. Sorry about that.
Right,
Hope you're feeling better soon.
We've got quite a variety of answers.
Quite a variety.
Including cities that are not on the list, which is intriguing. But we've got quite a few, and we've got some right ones, which is always good. I haven't got enough right ones yet, I don't think. But if I go down a bit further, I'm sure I'll find some more right ones. Maybe not. Maybe we'll just have 2 right answers. Oh, I've got the 3rd right answer. I've got the 3rd right answer. Well done. Excellent. So, where are we by? I've lost it again. Okay. West Country Mudlarks, you are top of the tree.
Well done.
Because it was B. It was Liverpool. That's where these 2 guys came from. Liverpool. So that's the West Country Mudlarks. Then Ed Creative.
Well done, Ed.
He gave us a B. And then I've moved the page back up. I've got to actually go off the page a minute to find Mary Beth.
Well done, Mary Beth.
There we are. So West Country Mudlarks, as I say, if you haven't checked them out, check them out. Lovely couple, lovely channel. We've got Ed and Mary. There we go.
Well done, you 3 on the podium.
Yeah, and fair play. There was a big spread on the answers. I had to scroll down to find the 3rd correct answer because Leeds is very big in industrial things, and of course London is very big anyway, capital city. But it was Liverpool, folks. That's where the guys are hailed from. So there we go. Now you know. What have you got? Yeah.
Right, I'll show you some pottery.
Ooh.
We got this. What do you reckon? Do you reckon that's aloe vera or cacti? I think it's probably aloe vera because aloe vera isn't a cacti, is it? It's a succulent.
Oh, now we're getting very sophisticated. Now.
That's what I reckon that is. And I've never seen that on a plate. There's nothing on the back of it. I don't think it was a particularly old one. Probably the 60s or 70s. But I liked it. Which way up? There. It just amused me. I like the colour contrast, I think. It's a lovely green against the white. That's what really appealed to me. And this one, look at that. I'm thinking maybe it was the back of a stag or something.
It's definitely the hind end of an animal,
it is,
isn't it?
And I would,
definitely.
Look, the more I looked at it, the more I think it was probably a stag. But
Possibly.
can you imagine what that looked like when it was whole with all that gilding on that beautiful green colour?
Yeah, it was quite a posh pot.
It was.
They
Not the sort of thing, they certainly weren't.
They had a couple of bob.
Labourers, those people.
No, a couple of bob.
Pretty impressive, isn't it?
Either that or it was an heirloom. Come down a bit in the families, because you had some working class families on low wages who had lovely bits of china in a cabinet because the family had done well before, but then they had 12 children who had 12 children and everything got broke up and you had one piece of pottery each sort of thing. That did happen.
Interestingly enough, though, this is really thick, this gilding, and it's really gold looking. Gilding can look a little bit sort of dull. Wouldn't it be amazing if that was real gold? And because it's so thick and lumpy, if it could be taken off there, and there's probably a whole grab of gold on that. I'm rich. Let's all go on a cruise together.
And I should mention, I was laughing earlier on because I read a comment when I asked the question about the towers. Ellen had put up, "My gargoyle is still on Blitz Beach."
Yeah.
Because I remember that they were planning to go there and get it.
It was rather large.
I got my brick. I did bring it back, folks, because I think I'm right in saying that's the crispest name we've had on a brick, isn't it? That is a really neat...
It is very clear.
That is so clear. Darren Brickworks Risker. Such a lovely colour to that brick. I know not everyone is a brick enthusiast, but in fairness, you don't have to be a brick enthusiast to appreciate that that's one fine brick.
Oh, a fine brick.
That's a fine brick. And let me show you some bottles. Look at the colour on that. Not lovely.
It's nice.
And that's the same. And this one's had a bit of a tougher life. But there they are, folks. My 3 bottles that I brought home. And if you've watched the show, you know that every single one of them has a label printed on it, embossed into the glass, which reads, "Any person misusing this bottle will be prosecuted." A lovely air bubble in the bottom of that. Well, I'm going to misuse these bottles because I plan to cut all 3 of these, or at least I'm going to cut at least those 2. I'm going to have to see how that one comes out because that's had a bit of a rough life. But I'm going to definitely cut them down and see what they look like, but I'll have at least a pair of cut down glasses in which to drop a candle, and each one will be advertising the fact I'm going to get prosecuted.
Yes.
Which I thought was quite humorous. So I decided I'd go with that.
Right, so just for another question.
Go on then. Now, I was quite excited by this find. And I've continued to be excited since I've come home, because when I've researched this, I tell you what, there are not many images of that shaped bowl on the website. Not many at all. And I think it's probably in a clay pipe. It's the first we found. In a clay pipe to have that trumpet type shape. I can say that I am virtually convinced that Caroline's stumpy piece of pipe stem did belong to this pipe. If you look at the colour match and the clay type and the seam on the bottom, I would say that that belonged to this pipe at about that point. There's a piece missing.
The shame is there's a piece missing and he wasn't there. Wouldn't it have been marvellous if we
It
could
means
that
that this whole pipe fell out at some point and got smashed in the river. But I have a question regarding this. Because pipes come in all shapes and sizes. And each different distinct shape usually has a name. Many of those names are based on locations, such as the names of cities. I want to know the name of this shape of pipe. Which city? Is it?
Oh, well done, Jeff. You interrupted Phil. Just made it, but have to go now. Lots of damage to fix. Bye and have fun. Oh, thank you so much, Jeff.
I'm glad your electric's on, Jeff.
That. And before you go, I don't know if you can hang on long enough, but I do have a picture of the pin-up of the week that we're speaking about
Jake
all
the Drake.
The time. Jake the Drake. Let's see if I can find him. Just a second.
Where'd he go?
There he is.
There we are, folks.
Look at that.
Yes, Jake and the Chicks, which we think is now going to be the new name for a 60s band, if you can rename 60s bands. But Jake, there we go. There he is in all his splendour.
What a good-looking chap.
The latest pin-up for our programme.
Yeah, so thank you ever so much,
for
Jeff.
sending
That's
that
really
through.
kind of you, and thank you for the picture too.
And I'm so glad at least your electric's held out for you to be able to drop in and leave a message. And thank you so much for the kind gift. Really appreciate it. Anyway, to get back to my question, yes. Which city has given its name to that shape on a pipe? Is it A, Durham, B, Dunoon, or C, Dublin?
I love the name Dunoon.
So it's a DU answer. It's either Durham, Dunoon, or Dublin. What do you think, folks? Which city do you think has given its name to that particular shape on a pipe?
I'm assuming Dunoon is in Dunoon. Look, I say it with an accent. It's in Ireland, is it? Sounds very Irish. Dunoon.
Could be Scottish.
Could be Scottish, yes. I seem to have heard it before, though. Is it a Dunoon castle or something?
I don't know. Somebody let us know
It's a
now.
very nice name. Ooh,
but which do you think, folks? Do you think that particular form and shape, when attached to a pipe, sometimes on a straight and sometimes on a curve?
Oh, it's in Scotland.
There we go.
Thank you, Mudlarking and Beachcombe in Scotland.
Yeah, they'd know. I knew somebody up in the north of the border would tell him.
Yeah, Little Owlbags Dunoon is in Scotland.
There we go. We'll have to pop to Dunoon now just to broaden your knowledge of places. When we pop up for a visit, we'll have to go to Dunoon.
Yes.
We've been to Dundee.
Find a river in Dunoon.
We've been to Dundee.
We have.
We've been to Dunfermline.
We have.
But we haven't been to Dunoon.
We haven't.
Not that we know of.
No, we've accidentally driven through there when we were lost.
Yes, we've stayed in Dundee and we've stayed in... No, we haven't stayed in Dunfermline. Did we stay in Dunfermline? No, we visited Dunfermline, didn't we? We went shopping
I can't remember.
Charity shopping.
Oh, that's the one by Edinburgh, isn't it? Where there's really good charity shops on a hill. Is that Dunfermline?
It's not by Edinburgh.
It's about half an hour.
You think of it like by Edinburgh because we came so far down. And we've been to Aberdeen. We went to Toastmasters in Aberdeen and Caroline won the prize for the best table topic.
I did.
You did indeed.
Very nice people up in there.
They are indeed. Aberdeen, Toastmasters. If you've never heard of Toastmasters, it's an interesting experience. Right then. Well, I'd better have a look. Who got the right answer, haven't I?
No, Lexi said she'd like to go to Scotland one day. It is beautiful.
It is.
The only thing I found was really unusual. We lived for 6 months up in, where was it called?
Glenrothes.
And that was in Fife. So when we were driving up, you were going through and then you went through the Lake District and then the border country. It was all these massive hills and mountains. I thought, oh, this is it. We're coming into Scotland. They must get taller and taller with the hills. And then you come out the other side of the border country and it was pretty flat where we were. You had to go right up then to like Fort William before you got the mountains and
we
things
bought
again.
a car in Fort William when we lived up there.
Yes.
We did. From a gemologist in Fort William. We bought an Espas.
We did.
We did indeed. Beautiful part of the world. Yeah, and Scotland is lovely. My brother lives in Scotland. He married a girl from Cooper in Fife and they now live in St Andrews. And their daughter lives in, I think, Stirling. And their son is down in Manchester, I think, these days.
I think so.
Yeah, but...
Abigail Howes was a Toastmaster for years.
Yeah.
You know,
it's great.
It's good fun if you are a Toastmaster. When we travelled, we used to visit other Toastmaster clubs. And
even in Holland, we went to... If you go to another country, if you go to another part of the country and you're staying, you can look it up, and if there's a Toastmaster meeting on, they welcome you with open arms. It's and it's one of those places... It's all about learning to publicly speak. And it's one of those places where everybody assists everybody else. Nobody is the master. Nobody is the teacher. Everybody is... It's one of those things where everyone works together.
And different clubs are different, but the ones we've been in have been really
very friendly. Yeah. Indeed. Right then, I'd better check this out.
Yes.
Because we have some answers. And we've got 2 correct answers. 3 correct answers. There we go.
That was good.
And the correct answer is... Dublin. Yep, it's known as a Dublin pipe, that end. And that may be why we don't get many of them over this part.
Could be.
And the correct answer, that first answer and correct answer, and I think they've been on a podium position pretty much all night tonight, yet again, the West Country Mudlarks. So, well done. And another repeat performance from Talbot's mum. And our third podium position tonight goes to the man himself, Mr. Adam Cates.
Oh, well done.
Mudlarking with an anchor. There we go. So
now,
they're
I'm
the
getting a
top
bit distracted here because there's conversation going on. Mudlarking at Beachcombe in Scotland said just along the road from me is St Andrews. And your mum said you stayed in the Premier in Dundee and we came out for a meal, I remember, because we had to go over the Long Bridge.
There we go.
Well, thank you, Phyllis.
There we are. Mum remembers
You've got
having a
better
meal
memory
in
than us.
Dundee, look. There we are, because we used to take Mum up. She'd stay with her son, my little brother, our brother up there, and we'd go on and stay in the Premier Inn for a couple of days. That's what we used to do, wasn't it? Right then. Well, have you shown all your finds? Do you want to show your heels?
My heels. Oh, my heels.
Because you like your heels, don't you? And
Which
you've got
was
two
so
heels.
funny when we went to Scotland and they call the crust of the bread the heel.
Yes, there we are. Now you know.
A Scottish reference there. I got these two heels and I like them because they're old. You know, you think, oh, just found a shoe heel. But that one, that's obviously off, well, not obviously. Could have been off, like, some of the men in those days who called themselves dandies, didn't they, and dressed quite posh. So it could have been off a dandy shoe or lady shoe. And then you got this, which I would say is off a boot, a working boot. And you can see all the layers on both of them. And you can see the big hobnails inside them where they were made. And I just love the fact of their history. Who wore those shoes? Did those people know each other? Was this the dad and this was the child? Was this the husband and this was the wife? Did they not know each other? Did this man used to go to the shop to buy his, I don't know, pork chops for Sunday dinner for his wife to cook, and the lady wearing this would serve him? Or was she in the post office and he used to go there to post a letter? It could have been anything.
You were overthinking
But you
it.
can't say that any of those ideas are wrong because they were from the same dump, so chances are the same village.
Indeed. Ooh.
I'd have stopped now.
There we are. And Rachel Ramey says we call it the heel in the US too.
All right.
So
that's
there we
interesting.
are. Possibly something that was taken over from Scotland. Or I don't know. Perhaps there's other parts of the world do it. Jazdia says hi to us.
Hello, Jazia.
Hello there.
Hope your husband's doing okay.
And Little Owl's Bags, Paul says, we have a holiday place in Crail just along from St Andrews. So there we are. Lots of people. Of course,
very nice in St Andrews.
St Andrews is world famous for the old golf course.
Very posh.
And my nephew used to go caddying on the golf course, and my brother plays on the golf course. So there we go.
Right, have we done all the questions? Because we're
No,
running really
we got a
late.
question.
Right, quick. Oh, Paul said whoever they were well heeled but had no soul. Oh,
Now,
very good.
Before I ask the last question, you haven't have you shown your bottle stoppers?
My bottle stoppers. No, I haven't.
Because you said on the video, watch the live show, and I will clean up the bottle stoppers and be able to read what's written on it.
And I didn't, but Phil did.
I did clean them up,
So these were two bottle stoppers.
and it says Gordon and Dilworth. Now that's extremely interesting, folks, because if you think Stratford and Avon's a long way for that bottle to come, which I did, that's come even further.
Ooh, where's this come from?
New York.
Ooh.
And they only produced the sauce that would have been on for 10 years.
Yes, it's
Between
quite unusual,
1890
then.
and 1900. So we're talking a 10-year window, 130 years ago, and it was produced in New York. That's where they made their sauce. So there we go. We told you. You now know. And here's a question. It's nothing to do with that. It's just I wanted to make sure we let you know. You've shown them now, have you, darling?
Yes, you've seen them.
There we go.
I don't know if you did see that one.
Gordon
Really?
and Dilworth. They made tomato. What did I say it was called? Catsup.
Yes.
Right. The last question is actually about the find that was not man-made. It's about conkers, or horse chestnuts, they're known as, isn't it? School children don't usually need to be told to collect conkers.
No.
It's something they generally do. But in the autumn of 1917, a notice appeared on the walls of the classrooms across Britain which read, "Groups of scholars and scouts are being organised to collect conkers. This collection is invaluable war work and is very urgent. Please encourage it. Now, that notice was put up by the munitions department headed by David Lloyd George. Why was this being done?
Why were they collecting their conkers?
Yes. Why were the conkers needed? Was it A, as ammunition? Was it B, as animal feed? Or was it C, to keep up morale?
I got this one wrong. Ooh, lots of answers coming in. And, not so many right answers. There are some, but not as many as I thought they'd be. So it's not just me. Right, have we got some winners in? Because time is ticking on. I'm sure everybody's ready to go to bed. Or depending on where you live, to go get on with your day.
Right then. The correct answer is they were collecting the conkers because we were running out of ammunition. Yes. During World War I, we were running out of ammunition, and the Ministry of Defence, or the Ministry of Munitions, asked the youngsters to go out and collect. In fact, they offered them 7 and 6. That's about 37.5 pence in old money. 7 and 6 per hundredweight, which was such an incentive. They ended up with more conkers than they had trains to carry them, and they got 3,000 tons of conkers collected and moved to their central depot, which was in the Forest of Dean. Ammunition, folks. But in case you're thinking we were going to take the conkers and throw them at the opposition, in order to make the explosive that was in the shells, you needed a particular chemical, which we used to import. During the wartime, you couldn't import it, and we had run out of this chemical and couldn't make the shells and couldn't get them to the front. So David Lloyd George appointed an eminent scientist to discover a UK based source for the chemical, and he discovered you could make it from conkers. So they got 3,000 ton of conkers collected by kids, extracted the necessary chemical, made the stuff, made the shells, and sent the ammunition. So conkers were collected by children in 1917 as ammunition in the battle. Didn't know that before, did you? Well, I didn't.
No, I thought they'd use it for feeding the horses or something.
Yeah, it was news to me. Well, that's all the questions done, but now we have to say who got it right. Seashore Mudlark got A. And they were so confident they put it down twice.
Oh, well done, Seashore Mudlarks.
And then I'm going down, because there's a long way to get to the... Dean Wall.
Well done, Dean.
Gave us an A. Down. And Richard... no. Yes.
I know. Yes.
I know.
It's getting tense.
What am I looking for? A I'm looking for, isn't it?
Yes.
So it's not Richard, it's Rachel.
Well done, Rachel.
Sorry, I get so tired, my eyes crossed over. Rachel Ramirez got A. So there we go. That's our top 3 tonight, who knew that they were used as ammunition.
Yep.
But in a long, drawn-out way. Well, folks, we've overrun by 10 minutes.
Yeah, just to say quick to Laura, hope Tinkering Twins, hope your hubby's doing okay as well, because I know he's had similar issues. There seems to be an awful lot of it about lately, but hopefully he's doing better as well. And what you laughing at
Richard
now?
said I'll take it, because I nearly gave him the 3rd place and it wasn't him.
Right then, so we'll let you all get on with either going to bed or catching up on your day, and we'll see you all next time. But until then, don't forget,
have fun. Bye.